Welcome to City Talk. I'm John McIntire. This is the program where, among other things, we prove that the people who work for the city government are not just nameless, faceless bureaucrats, but actual human beings with actual names and faces. For example, Bill Urbanic is here, the City Council's budget director. Bill, welcome to the program.
Thank you, John.
And you do have a name and a face.
I do have a name and a face. I don't always like to talk about my name and face, but
yes, I know.
Yeah,
Many people are reluctant to do these interviews, so I appreciate that you were nice enough to do it.
You're welcome.
So, budget director, City Council, that sounds like an immense responsibility to me.
Well, it really isn't, but it is.
Okay.
As we know, the council is the only folks that can put forth legislation. All that legislation has a policy impact and a fiscal impact as well, too. So our job is to follow the accounts of the city and to make sure that legislative proposals are able to meet within those fiscal guidelines.
How do you go about that?
We have access to all the accounts of the city, so we're able to see as the legislation comes over, we're able to see what's in the accounts, make sure that it's being spent in a proper manner.
So an individual council member might accidentally think there's more money than there is for a particular proposal, and you're going to make sure
That's
that
true.
that person knows that so they
it's-
can find other money if necessary. Or
Whether it's
possible.
council, whether it's a department director, or the mayor. So, as you know, city council also plays a check and balance role for the city, and that's basic civics 101 holds the power of the purse. So it's our responsibility to make sure that power of the purse is being done in a proper manner, utilizing best practices.
So you have a lot of bosses, all the directors of the departments, all the council people, and the mayor's office.
Well, let me step back because I work for the non-council members.
Okay.
So it's that's the.
You will be helpful to the others, but you work for the council.
I work for the council, yes, and we try to be helpful to everybody. Yeah.
And does it occasionally happen where there's a conflict? Councilman A wants something and Councilman B doesn't?
Happens much more often than I'd like it to happen. I've had times where I've had to take different approaches on the same issue.
How much money is passing through your office?
Lots of money if you count the capital and the operating budget. The operating budget is about $560 million. The capital budget varies because we have monies from previous years that we're still holding on to. So a couple $100 million there as well too that pass through our office on an annual basis.
And are you able to judge the general fiscal health of the city and its budget?
Yes, we made it through Act 47. So yes.
Which was the state overlooking what you were doing and ruling whether or not you could spend money.
That's correct, yeah. And we work very closely with the state overseers, both the ICA as well as the Act 47 coordinators.
So I suppose arguably that was necessary. There may be different opinions, but how was that a big a burden, Act 47?
Act 47 was a double-edged sword, yeah. It was a burden to some extent because it put sort of a cloud over the city. But on the other hand, what it did was help to open us up and put some controls over our spending and assisted us in doing something that's even more important, and that was changing some of the culture of the city as well too.
What do you mean by culture?
The way folks, employees as well as the council members and the mayor look at how the finances work, as well as to try to, we're not the only ones in this situation, so to try to go back and look at what other cities do and what those best financial practices are.
And what did you learn from other cities?
A lot. We learned first off to do a 5-year plan as opposed to just voting on a budget on an annual basis. Taking a look at a 5-year plan helps give you a forecast into the future and allows you to adjust your spending for that particular year and understand that maybe other expenses or other revenues will be coming up in the future that you can depend on or need to plan for as far as the expenditures go.
I remember years ago, Kevin McClatchy and the Pirates had a 5-year plan, and that didn't work out so well, but it sounds like yours is much more successful.
It has been very successful up to this point. We're going to continue on. There are times and there's different pressures, obviously. You have pressures from citizens that want a park on every corner. You have labor unions that want all the extra benefits that they can possibly have and pensions that'll go on and double forever. But you have to keep all those things into perspective and make sure that the revenues match those expenditures on a regular basis, and that we don't misuse the taxpayer money as well too. So everything has to be has to be relative there.
So you have to tell people no from time to time.
Yes, and it's not easy telling my members that you really can't do this. Sometimes they do it anyways. I don't say you can't, I say it's not within the best practices.
You can't do it this way
this
also.
forward, yes.
Yeah. Those are uncomfortable conversations sometimes.
Yeah, always.
But I'm guessing you've won the trust of the council people and they know at least you're being straight up with them.
Yes, we try to be an independent voice as much as we possibly can. You can sort of look at us like the Congressional Budget Office. Sometimes we try to give that independent little look at how something is, how a specific policy might pan out from the fiscal end.
So you're supposed to be the umpire calling balls and strikes?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay.
The umpire can get thrown out of the game in this game.
I see. So you can be overruled.
Oh yes, on a regular basis.
But you're just, since you're supposedly just giving him the straight dope, you're saying, look, I don't have a point of view. I'm just
That's
telling
correct.
you.
And that's correct. That's how I do it. I have opinions from time to time. I try to suppress those as much as I can to give that independent look. But yeah, the members are going to know best in the long run, as well as the mayor. But we have to warn them of certain conditions, and sometimes you just make those adjustments and let them know. And that's more what happens out of some of these things when there are disagreements or whatever. We come to some sort of compromise and understand and try to soften those issues that might become problems from a financial
How many city councilors have you worked with over the years, or city council men and women?
I was trying to count before I came up here, and it's over 30. So,
boy, you're the budget director. You
and
can't
we
give
have
me an exact count?
9 council members.
just kidding.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
And where are you from originally?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh area. I was born and raised in Dormont and Scott Township. I went to Chartiers Valley High School. Both my parents are from Pittsburgh. My father grew up in Spring Hill. My mother grew up on Ridge Avenue in the north side, and with her family. So I had an Italian family on the north side, and my Hungarian, Romanian family from Spring Garden.
And is that a combustible combination?
It worked out well for them and worked out well for our family. So,
Good. Yeah. And then you went to college?
Yes, I went to, I went to CCAC, I went to Duquesne University. I even spent some time at CMU's Heinz School of Public Policy.
Awesome. And how did you fall into government and become an expert on numbers, among other things?
Well, I started out not knowing what I was going to do, so I tried to play around and study many things. I think I graduated college with probably 50 more credits than I needed to.
Oh, you hung out a little longer than
necessary.
Yeah,
hung out probably an extra year. And I had a background, my father was a chemist, so I took a big look into science and trying to go that way. I loved the law though as well too, so I sort of combined those things. I got a little bit politically active when I was younger. I worked for a couple different organizations that are still around. One is Clean Water Action, Pennsylvania Public Interest Coalition, which is no longer around. So I did that. I also, at the same time, I was working in a marketing research firm doing the numbers. And I did that for a good bit during the day and then did the other stuff.
And so that's when you began to develop your expertise with numbers?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how do you like your job?
I love my job. I mean, it's different every day. I get to look at many different issues and aspects. It never gets boring. The members come up with some great issues and great things to talk about, so I'm satisfied both on the policy end and I get satisfied on the numbers end when things work out right.
And I hope you don't mind me mentioning we interviewed your lovely and talented wife who runs the 311 line for citizens to call in and report potholes or whatever problems they're experiencing. How does that work out at home? You guys both working for the city?
Good. We try not to talk.
That's very wise. So just
about the city stuff.
I understand.
Yeah,
right,
about
right.
the city stuff. Yeah.
Good for you. That's wise strategy. Bill Urbanic, thank you so much for doing the program today.
Sure.
We will meet some more scintillating employees when we come back. Stay with us.
Day out here, sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on,
Welcome back to City Talk. Let's meet somebody else who works in the city county building and find out what these people do around here. Molly Onufer is here from the Office of Community Affairs, and you are the manager of that office?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
How long have you had that job?
I've been manager for just over a year now, but I've been in the office for 2 years.
Okay, and what is the Office of Community Affairs? What do you guys do?
Oh, we do a lot. So we take all non-media communication that comes into the mayor's office or to the city. So we're helping people on the neighborhood level, individual level, acknowledging their quality of life concerns and trying to help them get those resolved.
Can you give me an example of one of those?
Yeah, so garbage in the neighborhood is a good example. I just helped a resident in Sheridan whose neighbor had been whose bags had broken and there was sort of garbage all over the yard. So we were able to send out, I made contact with environmental services. They sent out the foreman and worked with the neighbor to, instead of just issuing a citation right away, just said, hey, we'd like to give you a warning before we write a citation. Could you get this cleaned up by Friday? And they did, so.
And you might do that if somebody next door is letting their yard go crazy.
Yep.
And somebody calls in to complain, you might do the same thing.
Sure.
And here's a heads up, if you take care of this, we don't have to give you a citation.
Yeah, we sort of are the connector to resources. So when people don't know where to go, they come to us and then we pass it off. So, for people who have overgrowth in their neighbor's yard, we would pass that off to the Department of Permits, Licenses, and Inspections to have an inspector go out, and then they do the citation and work with the resident that way. But any resource you need, even if the city doesn't offer it, we'll be sure to connect you to the county or 211 or some other service providers, nonprofits that help.
Do you also hold meetings at night just to hear the concerns of the residents?
We do. So our office, we split the 90 neighborhoods up between us. When we're operating at full tilt, there's 4 of us. Right now we're at 3.
Wow, that's a lot of work for 3 or 4 people.
It is, but it's a lot of fun too. So
Good.
we go into the community, we split the neighborhoods up, we go to evening meetings, we're out anywhere between 1 and 4 nights a week at community meetings. And those are really important because it's our opportunity to let everyone know what the city's got going on. So we work with all the internal departments and authorities and gather all the news of upcoming events, new initiatives, resources, reminders, like street sweeping just started, so we were, that's a big thing that we were working on. And
so
then,
you're telling everybody, make sure you get off this side of the street on this particular day,
right?
Because otherwise you might get a ticket.
Right, make sure you're reading the signs, because it's different in different neighborhoods, and you don't want to get caught there and
people,
get a ticket.
they don't do that in the winter.
Right.
So people
Yep.
just sort of forget about it, so you have to remind them.
Yep, just fun things like that to make sure people know what's going on. But then it's also important for, the mayor's office really places a high importance on understanding what's going on in the neighborhood. So we also report back once a week to the mayor's office about, I was in Sheridan this week, this is what they've got going on. And it's good to keep a pulse on the neighborhoods.
So people must be really appreciative, at least at times, of the work you do. They've got a problem, you help them solve it.
We like to think so, yeah. Definitely.
And other people probably are never satisfied no matter what.
It's all relative, right? So, what affects someone's quality of life is, they're sort of, when they reach us, they're at the end of their rope. They've tried everything that they could, and, sometimes people are a little impatient, but we understand that because it's something that's, impacting their day-to-day, and that's a bummer. We want to try to resolve that.
How long have you been in the office?
2 years.
And you sound like someone who really enjoys their job.
I love it. I really do. It's really fun to be out in the community and meeting new people and really directly engaging with folks. And another thing that we also do is help our internal departments plan their public meetings. So when they have to get community input about something, we help them design that meeting, what's going to work for that neighborhood, collect dates, and then get the word out about it too. So it really is, no 2 days are the same, which I really like. And I get to learn a lot about the processes in city government. So I always say I know a little about a lot, but it's cool to engage with the community and departments and people out in the field and elected officials, we really get to engage with a lot of folks, which is cool.
But I'm guessing the satisfaction is that you're helping real people solve real problems, and you are actually somewhat responsible for that. I mean, that's rewarding.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I'm not usually doing the heavy lifting, but it's good to help people find a resolution. It really is rewarding.
Are you finding any sort of trends in terms of people complaining about stuff? Like they used to complain about, I don't know what, potholes, and now it's bike lanes. I don't mean those seriously necessarily either, but.
Yeah, I think you see trends, now that the springtime is here, we'll probably get an increase in overgrowth concerns. So, that's just because that's when things are growing again.
People don't start mowing necessarily right away. And
right,
other people don't like that.
Exactly, yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, where are you from originally?
I grew up in Forest Hills, so it's a municipality or borough just east of the city.
And how did you end up in city government?
Well, I don't know. I've always been interested in government since I was little. I always knew I wanted to work in government.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was a little government nerd growing up.
I was going to say, because you probably didn't have a lot of friends who were little government nerds.
No, not many.
Yeah, so you were born to do this.
I don't know about that, but I really muscled my way into it. So yeah, I studied political science in college and communications, and I'm a gum bander, I like to say. I left the Pittsburgh area for a few years and I came back, and this opportunity.
Oh, is that like a boomerang?
Yeah, like a boomerang, but a gum bander because you're from Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Did you make that up? That's good.
No, I heard it somewhere.
Oh,
I can't take credit for it, but I'm all about making it spread.
So you went away for a little while, but you were pulled back.
Yes, I came back and this opportunity was available, and it was, sort of the fates, the stars aligned and fate stepped in. So it's been great.
Awesome. Would you recommend a career in government service for other humans out there?
I think, yes, I would. I think it, what's really cool about the city government and why I really like the job that I have where I get to interact with so many people is the city government is packed full of people who are really smart and really want to help people.
Do you think people will be surprised to find that out?
It's one of those things that I try to tell communities all the time. We're not here to try to make your life miserable or ruin anything for you.
And we're not apathetic either. We're not.
Right. Yeah. People who are working for the city government all really care about, making the city better, making the residents' lives better, and doing a good job. So. If that's something that people are interested in, I think government is perfect for them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Molly Onufer, thank you so much.
Thank you very
for doing
much.
The interview.
I appreciate it.
Meet somebody from the Department of Innovation and Performance when we come back on City Talk. Welcome back to City Talk. Let's meet somebody from the City of Pittsburgh Department of Innovation and Performance. Say hello to Todd Smith.
Hello there, Pittsburgh.
That's a weird expression. I don't know anybody out there in TV land who's actually saying hello because I said say hello to Todd Smith.
Well,
maybe, I don't know. So what's your title in the Department of Innovation and Performance?
I'm a digital community specialist.
That sounds like a thing.
It is a thing. I got a really cool job where I get to work across government, helping departments kind of think about their social media goals and help them create a plan so they achieve them.
Right, and you're helping to promote a lot of city programs on social media, among other things.
Yeah, I mean, social media is a great outlet to reach more people. It's effective. We could also measure our engagement, so it's important to the overall communication strategy for the city of Pittsburgh.
You just concluded an enormous project involving a giant summit to encourage inclusivity and diversity in the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was great. It was a banner year for us.
What'd they call that again?
Inclusive Innovation Summit. It's an annual event that happens at the end of Women's History Month, so at the end of March, beginning of April. And we've been doing this for about 4 years. This is part of an initiative through the mayor's office, our department, INP, and the URA that envisions how the city could be more part of the conversation of how we can promote the organizations who are committed to a more inclusive city for our residents.
So that's such a wide category. What kinds of seminars did you have?
Yeah, so I think we've really grown since the inception of the Vision for Inclusive Innovation, so it is kind of a wide net, but some of the focus areas around accessibility, gender equity, opportunity, and definitely stuff around just general awareness around technology sometimes and how we can share best practices with other, organizations who might not be so sophisticated in that field.
Yeah, I went to one of the seminars was talking about inclusivity in the newsrooms and how can we get more diversity among reporting staffs at various outlets.
Well, with the democratization of communication, we have a rise of a lot of amateurs out there, which is good and bad, but it definitely waters down what is true and what is fake. And, I think the city, it's also an opportunity, though, for the city to own their own narrative and really share stuff that sometimes is not unearthed. And I think something like CityTalk's great, right? Because, you're talking about what individuals in city government are doing, and that sometimes shapes the work that we're doing overall as an organization.
You had hundreds of people participate in this summit at several different locations.
Yeah, so we had a little over 1,000 people show up for the event. And the event was held downtown. Point Park University hosted most of the programming. And we also had another venue, the former Art Institute building at 412 Boulevard of the Allies, which is now owned by the city, the Housing Authority, and the URA. And we had a really cool kind of pop-up coffee shop. We had a kind of an immersive photo exhibit there that was cool. And then we did lunch on the 8th floor. At
Several different restaurants, women and minority owned, several different kinds of food from all over the world.
Yeah, we killed the food this year. It was such a highlight, and it was great to hear not only from attendees who were trying this food for the first time, we also heard back from some of the caterers that they've been asked to do some future gigs through that experience. And so that is one of the nice parts about doing a big event around Pittsburgh is you create opportunities and awareness that might result in continued business for those organizations.
So it sounds like most of the feedback you've received so far has been positive, but I feel like that's such a difficult thing to achieve perfection, the ultimate inclusivity, the right amount of this or that and this many people of this kind and this many people of that kind.
I mean, we took a major step this year. In previous iterations, this event has happened across a week, and it's happened across all over the city of Pittsburgh. And it was very hard to manage accessibility. So speaking about people with physical disabilities, to make sure that you have an accessible entrance, an accessible bathroom. We really did well this year to provide all those amenities for the disability community, but then we forgot to provide easy access for accessibility seating at some of the seminars. And so we're continuing to always learn. We also have done some really great work with the mental health community to help us think about how we could design safe, quiet spaces during the summit. But one of the feedback was we had one space in the basement of the URA building at the former Art Institute building, but since most of the programming was at Point Park, we should have had a room over there. So
live and learn.
Yeah. And I think that's like why we continue to grow this network is that we really do build this summit in the vision of our partners, and we do listen to what they have to say, and that's why they keep coming back and that the momentum continues to grow.
Well, as a monumental undertaking, thanks, at least from what I observed, for being in charge of a big success.
Yeah, I mean, every person helped. It was great to see this year city employees involved from a volunteer standpoint. We really appreciate human resources providing City Fit credit for employees to take advantage. I think we had almost 30 people volunteer, including you.
Also, Point Park students were awesome?
They were great. I think Point Park is an underutilized arm that's so close to the city of Pittsburgh, and they have such great talent there. And I think there's a lot of potential to keep giving them real-world experience to work with our team and be out in the community and create a mutual kind of product.
So you're from here originally?
I am from here originally. I grew up in Point Breeze.
And then you went to San Francisco for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, everybody goes to San Francisco, right, to check out what's going on there. You wouldn't believe it. Out there's at least 8 Pittsburgh bars out there.
Oh, no
And
kidding,
it's got
Steelers bars?
Yeah, and it has a really nice blue-collar feel to it. I really enjoyed spending my time out there.
But like many Pittsburghers, you found your way back home.
Yeah, I mean, this is where my family is. I mean, San Francisco, the fabric of the city has changed a lot even since I left. And, you know, I was really impressed with what was happening here. And I think it's a smaller pond where you could be a bigger fish, have a bigger impact, and, you know, it's been great to be home.
Todd Smith, thanks so much for doing the program today.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you back in Pittsburgh. That's City Talk. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.